Welcome,
Motion
everybody.
to open a meeting?
Yes. Anybody want to second the motion?
Second.
Okay, then I'm just going to go around the circle. I vote aye. Aisha?
Aye.
James?
Oh,
I think
James
he's
is
on mute. You're on mute? I think he says aye. All right.
Yes.
Rachel
Yes.
and Michael. All right, the
Yeah.
meeting is officially open. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this lovely evening. We can start with review of minutes. I think Michael had just a few typos. Anybody have anything else to add as far as reviewing the minutes? And if you need to take a couple minutes now, that's fine. It is pretty succinct. Does anybody want to take a couple minutes, or does anybody have any other proposed edits? I have one edit, which I think Rachel carried over my error as far as paragraph 4 to Ponset River. I didn't take out the word valley.
Oh, okay.
That's something I invented. So,
Okay.
and I
On the River Watershed Association, and then I take out the V. Yeah, I was copying what you said.
exactly. So that was my typo got carried over. I think it's called, and I probably James knows, it might be called NEPWA, like NEPWA. Is that what it's called, James?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
NEPWRA
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
or NEPRA,
All right. Okay.
NEPRA, NEPR, Neponset River Watershed Association. I think there's a W somewhere.
It's confusing.
It's
Sorry about
NEPRA
that.
or NEPRWA.
Are you there?
Huh?
I
Hello?
think it's NEPRWA. Can you hear us, James?
NEP,
Or you could look up their website. They probably will tell you there.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll do that right now.
Okay. All right. Any other edits? Those are the only edits that I thought to the minutes. And if there's no other edits, does anybody want to make a
Motion to
motion?
accept the minutes?
Second,
Okay, we'll go around. Laura?
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there.
Okay, I vote yes. Aisha?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. James,
yes, please.
Rachel,
Yes.
and Michael.
Yes.
Okay, so the minutes of our meeting on March 31st were adopted. Thank you very much for your timely production of the minutes and timely.
Under the nick at the nick of time.
Yes, there you go. The nick of time, that works. All right, so I will tell you about the MAPC update, which is that Rachel and I and Aisha had a meeting, a virtual meeting last Friday. Thank you for joining us too, Aisha. And with Francilis, who we've been meeting with, and also Kat, whose last name I wrote down, but she's another planner with MAPC. Mostly what we talked about is a survey. I'm trying to it's sort of a survey, like a flyer, which is inviting people to tell us about your experience regarding the weather or climate change or things like that. So they're going to be finalizing that, and I'm not exactly sure where they're promulgating that or publishing that throughout the town. I think they'll be sending it to the superintendent for SPS News, et cetera. So there's a QR code. It's about, tell us about your thoughts about climate change or your experiences. And I thought that I'm certainly going to ask one of the 93-year-old member of the Sustainability Committee, because he's got lots of stories and he can tell you about, what it was like back in the day. So I think that that's going to be useful. But secondly, we talked about, we picked a time to have, I would call it the initial meeting with hopefully a variety of town officials and a variety of people from the volunteer committees to get into the room with us and with MAPC. And they're going to be laying out some specific proposals at that point in time, which I still do not have those proposals. We're not going to get them until April 25th. So I believe it's a Thursday night, May 1st. Any and all are welcome to join, but you're not certainly all required to come. I'm certainly, I know that I will be there. And it would be interesting to see the back and forth with people from different committees who really aren't really too much in the loop necessarily with what we're doing, why we're doing it, what the point of it is, and hopefully have like a round table and some dialogue there. So we're looking forward to that. I understand that hopefully refreshments will be brought by the town. because it is during the dinner hour. It's going to be from 6 to 8. It's going to be at the Great Hall. And that's going to be, very, very interesting. Hopefully we'll see that people are interested in solutions and interested in seeing what we can do and make progress on these issues in the town.
Molly,
those
can you
are
repeat that date again, please?
It is Thursday, May 1st from 6 to 8 in the Great Hall at Town Hall, which we
And that-
have reserved the room.
And that survey / whatever you said it was, are they designing that for Stoughton or is that for broader Massachusetts?
That's just
town?
for Stoughton. That's just for Stoughton. And I presume it's something that they've done before. It's sort of like, tell us about your experiences with climate change. And then, yeah, I guess it is a survey. Then you click on the QR code, you can make comments, and then you can choose or not choose to give some of your background, such as, gathering some little bit of information. But we also made clear that it could be anonymous, and that, you don't have to put your name there. Many people are reluctant to attach their names to anything these days. So hopefully we'll get a good response with that. I think they were talking about doing some type of not a presentation, but display at town meeting, which they have done before at other places, which really, as long as Julie Miller okays it, that would be fine. And I'm not clear, maybe Rachel, if you remember specifically what they had been thinking about, or maybe we'll find out on May 1st.
I did not follow
Okay,
what they were talking about there.
okay, all
I
right.
think I had raised a couple of meetings ago, there was another survey being done in Stoughton that was very similar to that. Rachel, do you remember?
That was the one that the Neponset River Valley Association.
Okay, but it was the same kind of thing, like give us your feedback on
Yeah,
the
that wasn't
weather.
specifically about flooding and flood concerns.
I think
Oh,
so.
okay, thank you.
Right. And,
Not climate change in general.
right. And it may have been at last meeting, Laura, that I mentioned that I did go to their focus group a few weeks ago where they were talking about their survey results, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, good.
But not to jump ahead, but while we are talking about that lovely organization, I just thought it was of interest and very helpful to note if people got their mail, if people got this flyer from them, which came in the mail in the last week. Did everybody get that?
Oh, wait, I did.
Yes, because basically that's a lot of investment. They're telling everybody in our community, extreme weather is coming. Sign up so you can get emergency alerts, prepare for extreme heat, get ready for more flooding, and, giving people some tips in that area. And I think this helps set the stage for why we want to have a climate action plan so we can address this issue. So I thought that was timely. And I was glad to see that. And I do want to sign up for the emergency alerts because you can't get too many alerts.
Actually, you can. That actually is
sorry.
a problem sometimes in
That's true.
for policy if people start ignoring them because there are too many.
That's true. That's true.
You turn them off. Right.
And interestingly enough, so they were talking about at the focus group that I was at, the first stage of what they've been doing is working with the town and the town engineers to upgrade the culverts. And they're doing that right in my neighborhood. So first it was kind of disturbing because there appears to be a big drainage pond. They tore down a ton of trees, little trees, but they tore down all these trees. I was like, what are they doing and why are they doing it? And then you can see there is actually a culvert down there. So they're working on it, or they will be working on it, I guess. All right. Anything else about our MAPC update? All right. And hopefully, again, if anybody wants to join us on virtual meeting Friday, April 25th at 9:30, let me know. Or let us know, because I know expect that Rachel will be there, because I think they're supposed to be laying out some specifics at that point in time.
Wait, I'm not being there, or
I'm sorry?
I'm not being there, or
No. I was saying everybody. I was just going to say, I presume that you usually have been able to come to those, that you'll be there too. I was saying anybody else wants to join us.
okay.
Again, it's our virtual meeting that we have usually every other week. All right. The next issue, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it other than just to introduce the issue, because somebody suggested it to me, and it kind of makes sense that apparently, and I'm not sure I was aware one way or the other, the schools, somebody saw this online, do own their own buses. Presumably that includes, some of the special needs buses as well, or the smaller vans as well. But the thought was if anything can be switched over to electric, this is a transportation system with very predictable patterns and very predictable usage of, this is how much miles you have to do. This is how much miles you have to do in the afternoon or in the morning. So I just thought it was worthwhile putting it out there as something we may want to talk about for our plan. I would definitely want to circle back to MAPC and see what kind of traction or success they have gotten with that. So what I had forwarded was the state does have a website discussing it and addressing it. And like everything else, probably involves like a multi-year plan, and probably involves, questions of funding, which, might be, certainly is more uncertain these days. But
Oh, sorry.
Sure.
Have you heard of the Green Team? It's an interactive educational program for K through 12 schools in Massachusetts that basically it supplies kits for figuring out how to do like idling reduction, composting, recycling in schools, doing different things. I don't know if electric buses are part of it, but there are a lot of things, and I'm going to be, and they will cover the signs for idling reductions. I talked to
Wow.
so it's a really cool thing that I just Googled while I was, I think, in the last meeting. I talked to, so it's thegreenteam.org.
Okay.
It's a really cool thing. And they have a school resources library, and I've already contacted the high school recycling club teacher or the advisor, and I'm hoping that I can act as a liaison with them and the Green Team. They responded right away and helped me find where the signs are, but I don't know exactly what things are. And they have been doing various things. So that could be, because this is funded by the Massachusetts government already. They have a significant amount of funding, and they do a lot of fairly easy things. So I'm also going to try to work with the recycling group and someone at my school, a PTA teacher who is really, really into like all the green things, and see if we can get a devoted team to working on just recycling and compost in the schools, because that's a major thing. It's something everyone wants to do, but everyone's attention is going in, 30 different directions, mine especially. So
Absolutely. That's fantastic. James, did you have a question or your hand was raised? Can't hear you. You're on mute.
I'm having some problems, technical problems. No.
Oh,
I
I'm
couldn't
sorry.
raise my hand. Sorry.
Did you have some comment on what Rachel said, or you just, okay.
I'm all set.
All right, Rachel, that's super fantastic. And that sort of intersects with something that I was thinking. We know because of the elections, there are 2 new members of school committee. It's been a long time since we've met with school committee or presented. I would love to schedule a time. Rachel, looks like you would love to do it. Anybody else? I'd be willing to do it. Just go and do like be put on their agenda, do a 5 or 10 minute introduction, maybe have some handouts, tell them what we're doing. We'd love to involve them as much as possible. Curriculum, composting, recycling, those are really the key things, because we know we're going to get a beautiful new, very well-designed, sustainable elementary school. So we're already taking steps in that direction. But that's excellent. And you're right. Sometimes it takes that dedicated team to take some of these issues across the finish line, which is really hard. So if you have somebody else there, like the person from your school who's interested, and you have somebody for the recycling club, I think that's when we might find some actual long-term changes made, some actual accomplishment is made. So if you want to reach out to Catherine Weiss about scheduling.
Catherine Weiss is no longer on the board. I don't know who the new chair is, but I know the 2 new people very well, so I can talk to them about that.
Perfect. So Catherine Weiss is not on the committee at all?
She is very happily enjoying not being part of town government at the moment.
Okay, all right. Well, you know the other two people, so that's great.
I know the other two people. I don't know if I know the other three, but I can get on the agenda pretty easily, I'm sure, if I just ask.
Okay, all right, so that would be good. Again, and as the makeup of the body has changed, I think we need to reintroduce ourselves.
Okay.
All right, any other thoughts about electric buses? I know it may sound like kind of a reach, but I think it depends on when the funding is there. But if you at least sort of start to have the discussions about it, again, I think it's easier to think about that than I've already talked to casually the police chief, and she's like, oh, police cars, the range, the range is an issue, and some people can take issue with that because that's also more within a predictable range of you're supposed to be driving mostly in the town, and I'm sure there's some exceptions, but it's a much more predictable schedule and range when you're talking about buses. So maybe that's an easier place to start. All right, so if we want to move on, the next flyer. So as you know, the first flyer was about Mass Save. The second flyer was about solar energy. Oh, and I just wanted to take a moment and detour about the issue of solar and community choice. We regrettably just found out in the last few weeks, we thought we were signed up, and I know I made phone calls to the town for a community choice. Turns out we weren't. So we are now, but we got in our mails because they thought we weren't signed up for the community aggregation the community aggregation renewable choice. They sent us a letter, which is great. So if people get these letters in the mail, at first I thought, what is Clean Choice Energy? But they seem to be specifically
Oh, yeah, we're signed up in that, and they give like rewards and points to you nearly every day to try to get you to log in, and they email me / my spouse and like tell us about something green you can do every week or so.
Oh, okay. Well, that I'm not on that email, but in any event, it does seem to be connected with National Grid. It does seem to be asking you to choose to choose the renewable option. So that's great that that's coming along too. Again, raising people's awareness and making it easy to choose that. Again, when you can't get yourself.
Can I say something? I'm actually signed on that community. It's actually connected with the National Grid. So I was
it's cleanchoiceenergy.com.
Yeah, but they've never sent me anything like what Rachel is describing. I've been using it.
We
for
already signed up. So
yeah, I'm signed up.
I don't know then. Maybe I don't know how I got it, but I can forward you the emails that they send us if you
Okay.
like. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I don't get those either, so that would be interesting to see. All right, so anyways, the next flyer, and I'm trying to find the flyer that I created, which, by the way, once again, I emailed the high school and said, is there any student out there who's artistic who would like to help create flyers? And now I have a response from the art teacher. So I will follow up on that response. So whether it's this flyers or anything else that we think is useful to us, I'll start to have that dialogue and hopefully have a student who can do something much more creative than what I have done. So I guess the point of my third flyer was we're all going to start pulling out our lawnmowers pretty soon, or many people are, and/or rakes and/or leaf blowers, which are incredibly polluting, the leaf blowers, and not good for the birds and the bees and all that kind of stuff. So just to plant the idea of people thinking about how they take care of their lawns, and there is a Mass Save website about some discounts if you're going to buy the electric mower or the electric trimmer or whatever it might be. So thoughts about the flyer and whether that's worth sending.
I had one wording comment that I thought the first sentence should be reduce toxic emissions rather than avoid.
Oh, yes, it should. You're absolutely right. That's much better.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. More accurate for sure.
Mm-hmm. Should it say something about noise pollution as well? Because the thing about lawnmowers and leaf blowers are that they are loud as well. And noise pollution is something that some people are very excited about. Some people are not. It's okay if that's not something people want to put on the flyer.
I hate the noise pollution, quite frankly. How do other people feel about that?
I love the sound of a gas powered lawnmower. I really do.
I love the sound of a gas tire.
Really? I'll invite you over to my house every Monday morning, probably starting next weekend through September. They do whether it's dry as dust or not. They send the landscaping crew, and it's like I'm trying to work, and it's just horrible.
Same here, Molly. Say I do not like it when I'm trying to work, and then someone is just. Oh my God.
But I know there's also been noise rules being discussed at other committees, and I think there has to be allowable noise at some point during the day, because otherwise.
But I just
Like,
to say something, Laura. I think people should be mindful of the fact that we're living in different times and seasons, and people work from home. So even if you want to do this kind of activities, it should be limited to a certain time of the hour or a certain day, just because you want to be mindful of the fact that people work from home. And we really can't do anything out of it. Like I'm literally having a meeting, just like I'm having a meeting with you, and the next thing you hear is boo coming. It's so embarrassing. So,
Well, we
I
are
think
basically
we
talking
will.
about climate, not about noise, not about other things. I'd stick with the climate
Okay.
effects. Once we start, every time we start veering off into other areas, we're really not talking about climate. It's very easy to water down or dilute or get off tangent on a particular message. My question for you, Molly,
Yes.
remind me again what it is you do with this flyer. You're going to,
Yes. So I have been sending it to the town, to Kelsey, and I have been sending it to the library. I've been sending it to
so you're
SPS,
talking about when you say sending it.
emailing it to them, for them to put it in their publication. So for it to be on the town TV screen.
Right. I see it there.
And to be on the SPS News, which I'm not sure they did my last flyer. If they did, it was only for a week. I'm going to be pushing a little bit more now that we're all in a little bit of a happier space with the schools. And I know that they had so much of that SPS News was about the South School. So they maybe didn't want to crowd it out. So that issue happily is resolved. I will, and like Jeff Pickett, who works for the schools. So, those are the anti-SMAC. So I'll send it to SMAC too. So what SMAC does with it, I'm not clear. Whether they actually show it as a flyer or something.
Okay, so the only reason I ask is, like I said, I don't have it in front of me, but you have something at the bottom, or a mass government organization or something.
Yes.
Do you want to have a resource, a website, or a QR, something that allows people to know where to go for information rather than just the name, which is just sort of hanging there?
I mean, like a hyperlink for the website, yeah.
Well, maybe not. Not a hyperlink, because it's not going to be digital, right? Is it all going to be print or screen, right?
Digital, because like
Yeah, but it's not going to be in any digital format that people can click on.
On Facebook, it could be.
Well, Facebook, yeah.
I am wondering like how effective QR codes are at getting people's interest, but that's it. By the way,
They're really blowing up.
Kelsey Lynch is the communications director for the town manager. So,
Yes. I get your point. You know what? And I spent time and I sort of trying to find some great resource that would tell you about, which I've read many times over and over, the very high levels of pollution from lawnmowers and from leaf blowers. And I didn't find like a great resource, although I will say there was one resource on the EPA website, which I'd seen in the past that was not user-friendly, that was very technical. And I cut it and pasted it and I downloaded it into my system so that if anybody chooses to delete it, I have that information. But it isn't, I wouldn't call it user-friendly. I didn't want to try to summarize it. It was very technical because I was maybe going to make a mistake.
Okay, no reason, I'm not saying you even should have anything like that. Basically, the message is there. Use electric, try to avoid gas. That's really all you need, and probably the briefer, the better. But particularly when you're using things like screens at town hall and et cetera, people
Yeah.
are not going to stand around, looking at things. I just thought since you had I thought you had some resource at the bottom there, and I just thought if you're going to have a resource, have a link. Otherwise, the only thing I would say is from what I remember, your header at the top, I would
Yes,
center it rather than having it flush left.
center. Okay, thank you.
And you had one word there, which I forget which word, but I think it was in green and underlined and bold.
Yes,
I would do one thing. Underline. I wouldn't use underlines anymore are just for links. It's really a
Okay.
typography.
I think it's in green and bold. It's green bold. Is that
green
okay?
and bold.
And
Okay.
yeah,
Otherwise, yeah, it's short, it's simple, it gets the message across. It might get people thinking. I think it does the trick.
Okay. Again, yeah, you're like, it's sort of the quick messaging. All right. So this time, and I will follow up more and follow up in the sense that I don't want to just see it one week. I want to see it for like over and over again, which is what people need to see messages over and over again before it kind of resonates and they pay attention. And also I wanted to say, so I've been able to successfully put these up at the YMCA. If anybody else has any place they go that has anything like a bulletin board, whether it's last month's or this month's or whatever, that would be great. So whether it's someplace you go to get coffee, unfortunately, we don't have the House of Brews anymore, whatever you could think of in town, or church or something like that, or temple that would accept this, or I don't know, any of the elementary schools have bulletin boards. So they are posting it at the library though. So if you walk into the library, it's one of the things posted up on their bulletin board. All right. So that's with that. And then I'm thinking the next flyer should be composting. And that will be easy to find lots of resources. And I was wondering if that we could possibly and talk with DPW about doing a composting workshop, but also like if somebody could find, rather than us putting together, just like a 5-minute, well, I'm sure they're all over the place, like a 5-minute YouTube on composting, because I don't want anybody to think it's complicated or hard or,
sure there's stuff all over the place.
yeah, I'm sure there's stuff. And then, and maybe we would just suggest people go to that. But I don't want people to think there's a barrier of complexity to chopping up your fruits and vegetables and throwing them in a bin in your backyard and stirring them up and every now and then, because that's really what it comes down to. But that would be great to, I think now would be a good time, probably get a lot of support from the town on the composting issue, because they're trying so hard to address the solid waste problem. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the, continued push to the recycling and making it weekly recycling. So
As long as it doesn't encourage the rat problem.
Mhm.
I will be meeting with town manager tomorrow actually to discuss that. So
to discuss the solid waste.
to discuss town's policies basically going forward on sanitation and solid waste.
Okay, that's great. Well, then you report back to us, obviously, that way next we meet about that. I don't know if people need more information about, I've never had a rat problem with compost, and we don't put meat or anything like that in it, but, or bones or anything. It's just the fruit and vegetable scraps. I've never had an issue with it. Which is not to say I've never seen a mouse, but that's different. I mean, in my
I don't
house.
know how bad the rat problem is this year, but for 2 years there, it was pretty bad in town.
Yeah.
So I just know the town was concerned.
Okay.
Hopefully less so now.
All right. Well, maybe again, I think it probably depends on how you do your compost. James?
Well, with regard to rats
Yes.
need 3 things to flourish and survive. They need water, they need shelter, a place to live, and they need food. If you take away one of those items, the rats will move on. So that's the main thing to think about. I've seen issues with people with rats on Franklin Street. The rats in that neighborhood were feeding on bird feeders. With the spillage from bird feeders, in addition to that, I turned over a garbage can, a heavy-duty garbage receptacle, the tight-fitting cover. A rat had gnawed its way into this garbage, and it was returning every week for a meal. So those are the things. Rats are quite intelligent. But you know, the thing is with rats, they'll be with us. And it probably isn't our function to educate folks, but it is something that we are concerned with, like any other citizen in the town. I mean, food and like animal food and so forth, which is regulated with regard to stable inspections. The Board of Health requires animal food to be kept in waterproof containers with tight fitting covers, as all garbage is supposed to be stored in that manner too. But folks, that they put their bags by the side of the road and they don't have proper trash receptacles, we're going to have problems with rats. I mean, there could be, it's not our function, but there probably should be more education with respect to storing trash to mitigate this problem that we have, and other communities as well.
All right. On that positive note,
I mean, like, it's very cute that people are complaining about rats. There was a bear in my backyard last summer, so
get
Oh my
out.
gosh.
Really?
yeah, and it's actually really sad because like it was a young male bear because they get pushed out of the areas that they were in because of so much residential areas and this source of food. And it was up and down Jordan Drive. But we still had compost bin, and it never came near that because it wasn't wet or easily accessible.
Wow.
They also like beehives.
Yeah, we don't have any of those.
Was it Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
Learned that the hard way, Jim.
Not the horror movie.
All right then. Okay, so we'll get that one going. Any update on the SPAC appearance? Maybe it seems like maybe May's going to be a busy month for some of us.
I reached out to David Walsh. I haven't yet received a response. It might be too late to do something for Earth Day, but I'm happy to meet with him whenever he says he's available. And anyone else is welcome to join because I am tired of babbling.
Okay. All right. Keep me posted.
I don't have a date yet though. So
All right. All right. So other business that cannot be anticipated. I actually do have something to mention, which I hope that I forwarded the email to you from Kathy Stanley this weekend, which had to do with a grant application for electrification of the Wilkins School. And as Kathy has explained, if not to this committee, then to the other committee, the Wilkins School is weatherized. It has a great shell. It's had this replaced and that replaced and the windows replaced. And it's like sort of the prime candidate for decarbonization. So when she sent that email that she actually has a grant and unlike usual is optimistic about the chances for that grant, that's really quite exciting. So she didn't ask for a vote or anything of the committee, but she just is referencing our committee as, community contact for this project. So I obviously said to her that that she can certainly list me and list our committee. And then we'll see what transpires with it. I don't recall what the time frame is. It seems like these things tend to, sit out there for many, many months. But that would be like a huge step forward. And the other great thing about that is it is not, the school does not have air conditioning now. So if they decarbonize the school, it is going to have heat and air conditioning. So that provides, so many uses for that as summers get hotter, and even like cooling centers. So when there's emergencies or heat emergencies. So it's like another spot in town that hopefully will be a safe place to go. So I think that's a really positive development. And once again, thankfully, we have Kathy Stanley on board to lead this effort.
Does she have an action item for us besides just referencing us?
I don't think she did. I think it's sort of like when you put in the grant application, quite frankly, it helps that you have two sustainability related committees and, and a track record of being a green community, getting and properly spending down the green communities grants. So again, I think that puts us in a good position. Again, for Kathy to say she's optimistic is a pretty positive thing. So very happy about that. And then maybe, quite frankly, in the coming months, we should just have Kathy come back and tell us an update on that and tell us what all is involved in that. So I'm going to put her on my potential agenda list. I'm writing my add to agenda, see if she can join us regarding that. And then, everything is sort of like changing with the school buildings now that there's going to be, well, I think it's obviously the South's going to be shut down. I think they're going to move away from the Jones too, right? Is that what the
Yes,
plan
so
is?
they're gonna move the preschool and administration building stuff that's currently housed in the Jones to the Wilkins. Major redistricting, we're going down to 4 schools, which will be cheaper all around. And the most expensive schools, the South and the Jones, will be closed down and replaced by these better systems. And the cool thing about Kathy Stanley's grant is that she said it would completely cover the electrification, which was one of the things that was possibly going to have to be covered by the school system otherwise. So this is really great in that is it would have been taken out of the school budget to do the fixes for the Wilkins. And I think, and we didn't want to trigger the base repair condition, which I think means that any improvements we did have to be like 2 million-ish. So this is really great on that end. So it's great synergy.
Absolutely.
And then so Jones is shut down, South is shut down, and that property gets sold by the town.
Mhm.
So it gets turned back to the town. So
And I'm sure the school administration doesn't want to move to the Wilkins School until there is air conditioning because they're working 12 months out of the year and that would be rough.
does the Jones have air conditioning?
I think it does.
Mm.
Parts of it. Yeah. Well, it has to. It's got the preschool and yeah, I think it does. But yeah, so a lot of big developments in town. So also I know that Rachel mentioned asking if Vaughn would like to come just speak at our meeting about all his recycling data. Is that something that we should try to, because I have to schedule it ahead, we should try to put him on the list for the 28th. So we can do that, and then maybe I'll have Kathy Stanley some other time. All right, and then again, so on the 28th, we should be speaking about what happened on the 25th with MAPC, laying out specific plans and more details with respect to who's invited or maybe even who's indicated that they could come to the MAPC meeting on May 1st. And again, I feel like probably the invitation is going out to the chairs of these various committees, but I feel like, anybody out of the committee who wants to come, it would be great to have sort of cross-committee representation and make some connections with people that we really haven't talked a whole lot with. I think that would be fantastic. And then my thought is in May, we're probably not going to meet till convenient time at the end of the month because most of us are busy with town meeting. So we'll probably have one meeting in May towards the end of the month. Anything else that's new, new business that could not have been anticipated that we want to talk about before we wrap up tonight? All righty, that's great. So I will just, I just want to ask if there's anybody, I don't see anybody there for public comment. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anybody. I don't see anybody looking to be admitted. Hearing nobody who wants to step forward for public comment, I will entertain a motion. Has that been
Motion to
seconded?
adjourn.
Okay, we'll go around.
Second.
Laura,
Aye.
I vote aye. James,
Aye.
Aisha,
Aye.
and Rachel,
Aye.
and Michael.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And everybody enjoy the unfolding of spring. Take care. Good to see everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.